This is the Right Guys podcast. Hey, did you know Trump can't stop winning? And we love every moment. And now your hosts, Josh Hammerling and Max McGuire.
Welcome back. Another edition of the Right Guys podcast. My name is Max McGuire here with Mr. Producer Josh Hammerling. Back on X again today.
I know, that was a
cyber
big
attacks
tag.
are over. Cyber attacks are over. Back on X. We're also on Rumble and YouTube as well, so welcome everyone there. If you haven't already followed us over on Rumble, please do. We're about to hit 900 subscribers over on Rumble, so we're two away. So hit that subscribe button over on Rumble and help us get above that hump and on our way to 1,000.
We appreciate all of you that are listening.
Yes.
So share. Like, thanks, guys. We love
100%.
bringing you real information. And I was shocked. Did you see how affordable things are starting to get?
Yeah. No, and you start to feel it when you go to the gas station, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oil is down. I drove by Costco the other day, and gas here in Texas, it was right around like $2.40 a gallon.
Nice.
So it was like a couple cents, maybe a couple cents higher than that. It was sub 250, which I mean, it's been a while since it's been like that. Now, some of the gas stations are slower to lower their prices. Like some of the ones that jumped up to 270, 280 a gallon are kind of sticking there. That's usually how it goes, right? They want to make their money. But it's starting to come down pretty quickly. And it's 100% Trump's doing, right? His energy policy of the energy emergency, reopening drilling offshore. Obviously, that's going to take some time, but as oil and gas exploration continues, right, it's only going to help. But we're also seeing inflation. I mean, the thumbnail for today is this inflation graph with Trump just pointing at the side. Let me go ahead and share my screen 1 second. I thought I had it up here. The graph, it's almost like you can't believe it.
Right.
Here's the inflation graph for the United States. Now, Trump was sworn in right around here.
Where? I can't see that.
My
vision's so bad these days. Good Lord.
Right around here. You see my little moving cursor?
Yeah.
So that's about January 20th. And you can see it just down, up a little bit, and then down. Like it is plummeted. The inflation index has plummeted. Look at Argentina, 52%. Yikes.
Could you imagine?
And that's down. 52% is like good news. It's coming down.
Because they were in the 70s and 80s. I mean, I thought it was even higher than that. I can't remember if they broke 100, but I was like, oh my God. Like, it does not pay to be in Argentina these days.
So inflation, obviously, people know, it's the rate at which things are getting more expensive. So a decline in inflation does not necessarily mean things will get cheaper. It just means that things aren't getting more expensive as quickly as they were before. But we are seeing some things getting cheaper. Here's the price of eggs. Eggs. We've been talking about eggs forever. Democrats wanted to use eggs as the attack on Trump. Oh, egg prices are high. Egg prices are high. That's because the Biden administration killed all the chickens.
Yeah.
They killed the chickens.
150 million or some crazy number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And of course it's going to drive up prices.
So
crazy.
This decline right here now puts eggs at a cheaper level than they were on election day. Eggs are cheaper.
Promises kept.
Yes.
I mean,
and do you know what this mark right here was?
Which? Right there?
Right here where I'm moving my cursor.
I see it.
That is
a little dip up.
But where it kind of stabilizes right before it goes down. Yeah. That is when Trump's agriculture secretary was confirmed.
Wow.
So they're trying to pin all this on Trump, right? But they were denying him an agriculture secretary. It was all Biden holdovers, right? So the minute that Trump actually gets an agriculture secretary and they start actually addressing the problem, look at that decline. That is not a natural decline. That is what happens when you have a government that actually cares about the pricing, John.
So, I mean, you're insinuating that the Biden administration wanted high egg prices. They wanted high gas prices. Like, they had all the tools at their disposal to make sure these things could be at least alleviated, and they didn't. Like, nothing.
Yeah. Chandy says, nah, they're going to say that POTUS has no impact on gas prices until the next D gets in office and it goes up again. That's what they claim, right? That's what they claim. And it is relatively hard for a president to lower gas prices. but it is very easy for a president to implement policies that cause gas prices to go up, right?
Mhm.
Declaring war in the Middle East is the easiest way to get gas prices to go straight up, right? Shutting down oil and gas exploration offshore straight up, right? Going 2.5 years without holding a single federal auction on oil and gas exploration on federal lands is an easy way to raise prices. It's much harder to get them down. But when you actually have an administration that cares about this,
Yeah.
right? Like none of this, Biden could have done all of this. Like, you know what helped contribute to this egg decline, right? It was the DOJ announcing that they're investigating the egg companies for price fixing.
Which was insane. It was
Yeah.
insane.
If announcing that they're being investigated for price fixing leads to a sharp and sudden decline in the price of eggs, you have to start wondering, were they price fixing?
Yeah.
And that is a very Democrat thing to do, right? Not the price fixing, but to investigate them, right?
I know, right?
Because that was Biden's big plan. Like,
Get a
oh,
committee.
we're gonna investigate all of the food manufacturers, right? But no, the egg prices, there's something really weird going on, because depending on where you are, it's not like this is a national trend. Like eggs at my grocery store here in Texas are sub $4 a dozen. Now those are not for the extra large; those are for the large, right?
Yeah.
But $3.99 a dozen for large eggs. You go to like the Pacific Northwest, it's like $12 a dozen. So obviously there are serious regional problems.
Yeah.
Right. The worst egg prices I've seen, though, have been in Democrat-run states. So it makes me wonder, what are the policies that those states are implementing that are causing some of this? But yeah, if you were ever able to import them, it's very hard to import eggs from Mexico. Mexico pays like $1 a dozen, like insane. So there are a lot of regional causes behind this, but the underlying kind of variable was that to combat avian flu, the Biden administration, as a policy, mandated that these farms cull their entire flock.
Which was insane.
Yeah.
Did you not think prices of eggs would go up? It's supply and demand. If there is no supply, demand goes up, prices skyrocket. This is like economics 101.
I was reading, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I was reading it. So grain of salt. I was reading that there was actually a financial incentive for a farm to kill all of their chickens or their hens for fear of avian flu than to risk avian flu killing their entire flock, right? The government comes in and says, avian flu, if it runs through your flock, they're all going to die. But if you cull your flock now, there is some money you can get back.
Well, who wouldn't want to do that? I mean, their farms are already on tight margins.
Yeah.
I mean, they barely make it as it is.
I mean, that's between a rock and a hard place, right? That's a gun to your head. What do you do? Do you and you know the way they were saying this, right? Like, cull your herds, otherwise you'll lose everything.
Yeah.
Lose everything and get pennies on the dollar, or lose everything and get nothing. That was basically the options that were being presented to them. So of course you have farms saying, hey, avian flu is in the area. That farm next to me just got hit. Farm down the road just got hit, lost everything. I am going to preemptively cull my flock and get paid a little bit. And then start over. But there's no even safety to starting over.
No. I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and the time it takes. When I saw like eggs here hit about $7 to $8 a dozen, like that was the cheapest protein I could get my hands on. I'm not the only person that thinks that, right?
Beans.
How many people?
Beans, your friend.
Yeah, I know. We bought beans, but I love eggs. Like I like a warm yolk over potatoes. You know what I'm saying? It has been a staple. Eggs. You hate eggs, huh? I can't eat them without Tabasco. Eggs. So if I don't I can't eat eggs without Tabasco. But my life changed once I put a runny yolk over a hamburger or fries, and like a breakfast. Dude, it's good. Like people, it's a cheap protein, man.
Yeah. I'll do like French toast is the most eggy I'll get.
Really? So you're not an egg guy at all?
Huh? No. When I was younger, I was in kindergarten. And they had a Dr. Seuss day, and they said green eggs and ham. So they blindfolded everyone, and they said, you're going to try green eggs and you're going to try regular eggs, and you're going to see if you can tell the difference between green eggs and regular eggs. and I ate the green eggs, and whatever they used for the food coloring was disgusting.
And you
And
lost it.
I threw up.
Yeah. Then
And I
that
have
ruins you for
never,
life.
yes, I've never eaten eggs since then. I had a similar experience with soy sauce on vacation.
Oh no, really?
I was in Jamaica with
Come
my
on.
family as a kid, and we went to the hibachi. It was like an all-inclusive Jamaican hibachi. He should have known it was coming. I got food poisoning, threw up, and I couldn't eat soy sauce, anything with soy sauce, for years. Finally got
Are you
over
allergic?
that.
Yeah.
Finally got over that, but I still can't do eggs.
Yeah, Colorado got weird is that people were slinging eggs on the streets and you could
Mhm.
go buy weed in the stores. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's how different things got,
Yeah.
right? There were people that like, hey, I got my own eggs. If you want a couple dozen, it's $5. And you know, I'm not saying that I was buying illegal eggs, but there were some good eggs out there when they hit $8
Yeah.
a dozen, you know?
So like here, it's not, they're not considered illegal eggs. It's considered a cottage industry. So like, unless you are going to reach a certain amount of money here in Texas, you can bake bread out of your kitchen and sell it.
Really? Not in
Right. You
Colorado.
can can some jellies from fruits that you grew, right? You can do that as long as you don't reach a certain level. You have to have minimum kind of standards, and you have to put a label on it that says, hey, Wild West. Did my
I
best,
know.
but this is not inspected, and they usually leave you alone. Of course, not in Colorado at all.
No, it's cottage licenses. They get their
Yeah.
cut and everything.
Yeah.
And was the government getting a cut? Well, I mean, what was the advantage of making sure all those eggs go away? Were they just driving up prices for the hell of it? I mean,
Well,
the Biden
listen.
administration couldn't have been that bad or stupid. I mean, just stupid.
Never underestimate health experts saying this is my time to shine. I know how to fix this no matter how much pain it causes. Like that's what we all learned from COVID,
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
God.
all of a sudden COVID hits, and these county level health commissioners who you've never heard before have tremendous power. The same deal in Department of Agriculture, right? The avian flu department just kind of been sitting there. The health inspectors, the avian health inspectors, right? Like they've just kind of been just like sitting there chilling. All of a sudden it's their time to shine. They dust off the playbook of what to do. Oh, the playbook says kill all the chickens.
Get the guillotine. Let's go. How do we do it faster?
The chickens are sick. Kill all of them.
Hey, but think about if you were a restaurant and what you deal in is ham, eggs, and toast every single day, right? You sling eggs as a breakfast diner, and you're asking people now to pay $25 for a breakfast,
Yeah.
right? You used to be able to get a breakfast for $5, right? You used to be able to go to the Waffle House, get like 2 eggs, piece of toast, something easy, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's forced to do something which increases prices, which once that happens, everybody feels that damn pinch, man. On a staple. That's the thing is that eggs and milk cheese, they're staples, and they went after them.
Chandy says, culling whole flocks seems silly. Same as herd immunity hurt humans, isn't it? Or does the flu cross over to humans? That is the risk, right? Not just that the flu can cross over to humans, but apparently it also can cross over into cows, right? So it isn't just the risk that it'll cross over to humans, but if a flock gets sick and another bird lands on the field, right? That bird could get sick, which could then fly somewhere else, right? So there is some reason, but the preemptive culling of the herd, right, before there's even a problem,
seems weird.
It seems a little bit weird. But what we've had here, and what Shandy said in another comment, is we now here in Texas have the backyard chickens. Mm-hmm. Has that started happening in your neighborhood?
Yeah. You can backyard hear chickens? Yes, you bet. Everywhere now.
HOA's okay with it?
The laws where I'm at says it's okay. The HOA doesn't ban those. There's a guy down the street that's got cows and stuff too. He's not in the HOA, but we're surrounded by some ag out here. So it's
here,
not a big
here in
deal.
Texas, they passed a law last year before that certain agriculture animals, not like cows or horses, but like chickens, hens, things like that, HOAs can't prohibit it. So
really? There's some that do. There's some that you cannot do it, and they will lose their minds depending on what side of the highway you're on. Really, I think is what it comes down to. But the closer you are to the eastern farms, you can just.
But it's not cheaper. I mean, maybe it's cheaper. Maybe it's cheaper once you get going. But like to build the chicken coops, to feed them,
The feed alone
Yeah,
is
yeah,
expensive,
yeah,
and you got to give them good feed so you get decent
yeah.
eggs, right? I mean, and it's a special diet that you got to give them. I mean, it's
The trick apparently, and I don't know this firsthand, but I've read the trick is red pepper flakes.
my wife had one too. She said something
Yeah, you
like
put
that. You give them this, and
red pepper flakes in the food. It can deal with parasites. Make healthier chickens if they eat a little bit of red
interesting,
pepper flakes.
sure. But that's also one of
Yeah,
the foods that people like for emergency. Like everybody wants their own ducks. Everybody wants
yeah.
some stuff. What is
Chandy
this?
says our son is autistic. Fairly easy to get them designated as emotional support ducks.
Brilliant.
All right. Listen,
I'm on board.
when I lived in an apartment complex, they wanted to charge us rent for the dogs. We got emotional support dogs for the same reason.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
couldn't charge us rent and they couldn't charge us any of that. So yeah, I hear you. The emotional support animals used to be for flying. Flying used to be the real help, but that's gone.
In Denver, there was a few Mexican restaurants you could drive past, and they had hens. Like they were, you
Really?
got fresh eggs. Yeah, like it was. There was some pretty good food that came out of some of those joints, which you can't. They're not really open now. You should. That's a whole other thing. Is that there's not a lot of people working on houses right now. So if you're a tradesman, they're
Yeah.
looking. They're looking.
What I want to know though is, are the Democrats going to say good job, Trump? Are the Democrats going to say good job,
Please.
Trump? Because these are the kinds of videos that they were putting out just last week.
Donald Trump, when we complain,
Why does this keep happening? Here we go.
so Donald Trump, when we complain about the cost of eggs, you tell us to shut up. But the reason we are complaining is because you promised you would bring down the cost on day one. And bro, it's like day 50.
50 days in.
So they deny him an agriculture secretary for like
30
a month,
days.
for 30 days plus.
Yeah.
So it's all Biden's people.
And in 20 days, he gets inflation down. He gets price of eggs
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
The price of gas down. I mean,
Additionally, though, like it's there's no magic wand to it, because if this was like, oh, the cost of gas is so expensive that the trucks increase the price of eggs, then you can fix that. But when your predecessor kills all of the hens, you
Yeah.
can't just snap your finger and have those hens reappear. There's no Infinity Gauntlet Thanos snap
I
to
love
make
that.
the eggs come back, right? So it can take what I think it was like 6 months at the most
It has to.
for egg. Let's see if you can look that up. How long it takes a baby chick to basically grow into an egg laying hen? It takes weeks, if not months. So even if
Yeah.
Trump personally went into his pocket and bought new baby chicks for each of these farms, it would still be weeks and weeks and weeks.
18 to 24 weeks on average until
There
they
you go.
reach sexual maturity. And even then, like some chickens
Yeah.
just don't lay fast. Some are
Yeah.
like super egg layers, right?
That's all. I was spot on.
It's
Upwards of 6
pretty,
months.
yeah. And I mean, but still,
Yeah.
it takes 18 to 24 weeks.
Yeah.
So if we needed like a new vaccine, and we know that egg ovum is used all the time for creating our vaccines, technically Joe Biden puts us in a position where we can't generate a bunch of vaccines. Now I know the federal government, they say they've got their special stash of chickens out there, and there's those super secret farms just for those reasons, but that puts a strain on everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, just terrible decisions coming
Yeah.
out of the
It
Biden
reminds me
regime.
It reminds me of that old saying, when's the best time to have planted a tree? 10 years ago. When's the
Yeah.
next best time to plant one? Today.
Yeah,
Right?
right now.
It would have been much better to do it 10 years ago, but if you have no other options, do it right now. It's very much the same thing with chickens. It's very much, it's to a lesser extent, like beef and things like that, but it still takes time. It still takes time to raise these animals to the point where they can actually go to market, where they can actually lay eggs. And it takes time. And you can see this is Swalwell at his local grocery store, it looks like, acting all smart ass, like,
Yeah.
where's the eggs? Where's the egg prices? Where were they when it was shooting up? Like, I mean, this is the remove this. This is the where was Swalwell
Mhm.
when the prices were going up?
Well, he might have been in line for some medication because if he was caught with
Yeah.
another Chinese spy, like you don't know what
Yeah.
you're gonna get, you know. But it's just a
Yeah.
dick move. He's standing in the store. He's trying to make a video. That's the other thing is that he's trying to look like a badass saying this, but he doesn't realize how empty the attack is. And to see
Yeah.
that smug look on his face, it just shows you it's about politics. It's not about you or me and them serving us, right?
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
Yeah. I mean, this was him just a couple weeks ago, March 4th, going to Mars. I'll settle for cheap eggs and democracy. Again,
What?
where was this? Where he obviously didn't care about it when Biden was president, or he would have done something about it.
Yeah, like they were in power for 4 years. They could have done whatever they wanted to.
Yeah.
They could have brought legislation to pass forward abortion. They didn't do that. Makes you wonder
Yeah.
if they really believe in that one, or is it just an issue that they love to bring up at every election? That's all it is. They're just talking points.
Just talking points.
They're just
Just
talking
talking points. And it's not just that Trump is bringing down the cost of eggs, the cost of gas. Inflation is dropping. Interest rates are set to drop, are dropping, and we're expecting rate cuts, which is a little crazy because the stock market is going down. And so the stock
Yeah.
market is in a bit of a correction, but it's weird. It's not like it's a correction that, oh, we overpaid for this.
No.
The trade war stuff is kind of factoring into this, which we all know this is going to work out in the end. There's going to be either an agreement or the United States is going to win the trade war. You see what just happened yesterday, where Ford in Canada said we're going to apply a tariff. That was the crazy thing. It's not a tariff; it's just a tax, a surcharge,
Yeah.
25% surcharge on electricity coming into the United States from Canada. That had nothing to do with tariffs or anything. That's just increase the price, which here in the United States would be a crime to increase for a public utility to add a surcharge to certain states just for the hell of it. Trump hit back. Okay, your 25% tariff on aluminum and automobiles and everything like that just hit 50, and all of a sudden he backed down, right?
Yeah.
So in the end, it's going to be Canada who backs down. Canada's going to kind of rattle the saber a little bit, see if they can maybe cause enough pain to force us to the table. But the United States is currently in trade wars with Canada, Mexico, and the European Union all at the same time. And I guarantee it, we're not going to lose this because we have the biggest buying market in the world.
It's
right?
not even close. Yeah. They've got no chips. And Trump knows it. That's why he can start fighting multifaceted wars. And right now he's winning a war without firing a single shot. He's done the things he said he's going to do. He's also set up Republicans for years to come if they don't screw it up.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so many things are happening under his administration that sets up the future.
And there is legitimacy in saying you want parity, you want equality in these tariffs. I was looking at the EU. The EU announced tariffs on a bunch of things to counteract our steel and aluminum tariffs. Steel and aluminum tariffs are not punitive. They're 100% from Trump to trying to protect our steel and aluminum industry, saying it's essential to our national security and our national survival to have a steel and aluminum industry. And if you dump your product into our country for cheap, it will put our companies out of business. That's 100% a protectionist kind of way of doing it. The European Union said, oh, well, we're going to tariff this. I was looking through it. Before any of this happened, if you wanted to buy a motorcycle manufactured in Europe, the tariff, I believe, was 2.5%. If Europeans want to buy a Harley Davidson,
how much is it at?
30%.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So like there's some legitimacy to this Trump argument of, well, why is it okay for the EU to put tariffs on American automobiles, but they clutch their pearls if we even think about doing it to BMW or Mercedes, right? Or Fiat. Why is it okay for you to do it, but not for us to do it? Why is it okay for Canada to tariff American dairy upwards of 300%? But if we talk about doing the same, it's like, oh, it's so mean. It's so mean because they've literally grown up in this world where it's okay to take advantage of the United States, where the United States is just there and it's okay to tax our stuff. and it's okay to dump their product into our country for pennies on the dollar. They don't care, right?
Right. Yeah.
And if anything, I think Trump would have been much better served if he had started this whole thing by starting with purely reciprocal tariffs, of going down the list of what they charge us and then turning around and charging them the same exact amount. I think it would have come off looking a lot fairer rather than just being a shot in the dark out of nowhere. Oh, we're going to tariff you 50% or 25% or 10%.
One of the byproducts of this protectionism and making tariffs fair is that Donald Trump has done more to support workers and union workers than Joe Biden ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, if our products are being sold overseas and they become affordable enough that the output for Harley Davidson goes up, how's that bad? Don't we want to see more Fords in Europe? Don't we want to see more Chevys? Don't we GMC, whatever it is?
Shouldn't.
I mean, I would love to see anybody, right? And he's done more in the last couple of months with these tariffs than the Democrats have probably done in 30 years.
Oh yeah, no,
so
they don't care.
It's just, but they don't. What we got was like NAFTA out of Bill Clinton.
Yeah,
and everything else has just been a shitstorm since then.
It's been crazy watching the unions, the auto unions in the United States, applauding Trump's tariffs.
Yeah, because they know.
4 months ago, back in the election, they were rah Kamala Harris, saying Trump will kill the auto industry. It just shows you how they're just liars, right? They're special interested liars, and it's insane. This is another. Do you see that RFK Jr. had all of the food producers, the major food producers, in for a meeting today?
I saw yesterday. Now, yeah, I saw. I don't know what came of it because I stopped reading. But once I saw that they're all there, I was like, "Ooh, something's hitting the fan today."
The takeaway was to tell them there's a new sheriff in town.
Oh.
And I think what I'm seeing as coming out of the USDA, same Department of Agriculture, because Department of Agriculture is in line step with HSX on a lot of these things. Food stamps. It looks like food stamps are going to become restricted on things that are overly sugary. So it looks like food stamps might not be usable to purchase candy, high sugar sodas, high sugar cereals. I don't know how they would. I mean, they already do that with SKUs with like alcohol and things like that.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be too hard from a policy standpoint. But if you were to do that and and say basically no food stamp money goes to this, Quaker Mills, right? All of these companies would then have to say, okay, what do I do? Do I lose a huge chunk of the money that we're bringing in? Or do we adjust? Very similar to how Medicare and Medicaid will negotiate with drug companies and say, hey, lower your prices. Otherwise, we won't buy from you. Right?
What doesn't have like high fructose corn syrup these days? Go buy some Frosted Flakes, Captain Crunch. I mean, just go buy something off the shelf these days. I mean, it's going to change everything, especially if he gets the linseed oil and he wants all the oils out of everything too. Like, there's going to be opportunity for new industry to come forward with this and be able to put their products in food. It's going to be really interesting. The high sugar thing kind of blows my mind because there's nothing out there right now that you can really get your hands on that hasn't been touched by sugar in some way. I mean, is it a lot of sugar, a little sugar? How does he determine that?
That's the problem. Like, how do you determine it? There'd have to be some kind of benchmark.
Yeah.
Maybe grams of sugar per calorie. I don't know. There'd have to be some kind of benchmark, but at least like top down, it makes sense. Why would the United States government want to subsidize the foods that cause the diseases that then cost the American taxpayers more money to treat? It just makes sense.
Yeah, and it kind of feels almost like when the cigarette companies were selling products that they knew were harmful. Did these food companies know that putting these kind of stuff, it was harmful? So are they going to get the same treatment? I mean, were they doing experiments that show it? I mean,
Josh,
there's a big ass can of worms here, Max.
The artificial colorings that they used to do back in the day, many of them were derived from a product called coal ash. which is a byproduct of like coal for like coal
Yeah.
power plants. Coal ash. It's very obviously bad for you. But they said, hey, you know what? I think we can use this to make, I think it's the yellow comes from that.
Really?
One of the fake yellows. Well, that got shut down because people said, whoa, you can't use coal ash.
Right.
So now what do
All
they
kinds
do?
of stuff.
Now they use petrochemical byproducts from making gasoline.
And here's the other part is that not only do they get these weird ingredients, is that people get addicted to the taste.
Yeah.
And they get addicted to the flavor, right? So they want it. And it's just such a, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have it, but you really, really want it. And
Have you seen the guy? Have you seen the guy who goes outside of Crumble Cookies
I know who you're talking about.
and he will pay people not to eat Crumble Cookie?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah. They asked him to stop too. And they're
They asked him to stop. He said no. The CEO made a video that said if
No.
someone is outside Crumble Cookie offering you to pay you not to eat Crumble Cookie, take the money and order it by delivery. This is one YouTuber, Josh. This is one YouTuber.
Taking down an entire crumble industry because they got good cookies, man. Like I've had them. They're
Have
nice.
you read the ingredients?
No, I never have. I
You
don't eat them
have
all,
to.
at all, really.
You like I've never had
I
it.
gotta look now.
Any like impulse to stop there, I will never eat a Crumble Cookie. Like the pure amount of sugar. Let's see if we can pull it up.
I could imagine that it's sugar and fat, like sugar and fat.
It's not even like you make cookies at home, right? How many ingredients? Butter,
Flour,
maybe baking
sugar,
powder,
yeah,
sugar,
add a leavener,
flour,
butter,
chocolate chip.
and I make butter frosting, right? I mean, it's gonna be butter
Yeah.
frosting
Yeah,
with no color.
Dozens of ingredients in Crumble Cookies.
I don't know if I want to know now because I'm trying to look at the list and
Crumble sugar cookies contain up to 76 grams of sugar, which is up to 18 teaspoons of sugar
yeah, I was gonna say that's
in a single cookie.
because that's a quarter cup, isn't it? No, that's almost half a cup of sugar.
The key
Think
lime
about that.
pie, has 89 grams of sugar. The cookies and
Holy
cream,
sh-
the cookies and cream brownie has 113 grams of sugar.
How much fat? We haven't even added the fat yet. That's just sugar. It's insane.
I want to see if I can find a visualization of it.
It's got to be like half a cup of sugar or more in some of those things. There's no. Oh
You
my
want to
gosh,
see what 113 grams of
I
sugar
sure do.
allegedly
I
looks
want
like?
to see it. Let's go. Yeah, that's about where I thought it would be. I'm guessing that's kind of like one of these size bowls.
Yeah,
right? Because-
yeah.
Which makes almost everything they put out pure sugar and fat. Probably an egg, or
Oh,
at least
man.
egg substitute.
This hurts me. I like the Shamrock Shake. It's one of my favorite things. I was actually going to try and get it today. The Shamrock Shake is 93 grams of sugar,
Oh my god!
which is 23 teaspoons, I guess. That's teaspoons of sugar.
All right, I'm
Like
looking
that's
at
the
what-
kind of stuff. If there's this much sugar in it, then food stamps shouldn't cover it, right?
Hey, so when you make your ultimate peanut butter cookies at home, because the Crumble Cookie has an ultimate peanut butter, do you ever put sodium aluminum sulfate in it?
No, that's the other thing. That's
What
the other
the hell
thing.
is that?
I don't know. These are
Well-
it doesn't make any sense because these are not supposed to have a shelf life. So all the things that companies say, oh, we put that in to make it last a long time. You're supposed to get a Crumble Cookie and eat it. That's it.
Yeah. So propylene glycol.
Mm-hmm.
I have no
That
idea
is-
what that is.
That's a
So they get their oil from rapeseed or cottonseed. Oh my God! I started looking at the strawberry shortcake, monodiglycerides, yellow 5,
yeah.
yellow
Propylene
6, sodium
glycol is
phosphates.
it's
Propylene
technically a type of alcohol, but it's not like alcohol you'd eat.
It's weird. I don't know. Either way, there's something in there. The sodium aluminum sulfate for leavening I mean, can't we just use baking powder? I mean, that's what it does.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is where like you look at that and like it's like, oh yeah, good to go. If you're a cottage baker and you're like, oh yeah, I did flour and baking powder and sugar and a little bit of salt, right? Oh no, we have to regulate that. Yeah, but how crazy is that one YouTuber, just a video series of offering to pay people money not to go to Crumble, led to Crumble actually telling people to use the money to buy it delivered.
Well, if the CEO's out there saying that, there must be stuff in there that they know
Yeah.
shouldn't be there, or they're worried people will find out are already there, even though it's probably legal, right? Probably met all of the FDA standards, but now we've got a new sheriff in town, and maybe that's yesterday's meeting was sending that message, and it needs to be done. Is this too late? Is this late in coming? I mean, some of these ingredients, I remember using them in the 80s, and when I was a really small kid. It probably goes all the way back to the 50s, 60s. How many generations of people have been eating these weird ingredients?
Yeah, no, it's some of this food is terrible for you, and good luck to Bobby Kennedy getting it all taken care of. He's gonna run up into a lot of pushback for sure.
Of all the people that I'd worry about their lives the most, it would be his, because he's going after industries that have like generational wealth, to back them. So maybe I hope he's got security protection right now, because that's what happens when you piss off the people with all the money and all the power, right? I mean, they come for you. Oh, now I'm all kind of depressed about the whole food thing. Now I can't go to Crumble Cookie, dude. What the F, man?
You can't. Maybe go in there and ask for a sample. And
now I'm afraid I'm going to walk away with like throat cancer if I eat it.
Yeah.
That's
the other thing, where they're like, oh, these ingredients are safe to eat. And if you ever read the studies that say they're safe to eat, it's like it's safe as long as you don't eat this much.
Yeah.
So like in this can, this Diet Coke is safe to drink. But the studies never talk about what happens if you drink 8 Diet Cokes a day, every day for an entire year. Like, what happens if you consume that much of the artificial flavorings? The studies aren't clear on that, right?
No.
So there's a lot that they're like, literally like the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, like the monkey statues. Like, oh, we don't want to know. We don't want to know what happens if you eat that much or drink that much.
What about on the flip side of that coin, when you've got the artificial sweeteners?
Yeah.
And I know somebody that'll put 13 Splendas in their coffee
every
single
That's what
day.
I'm talking about.
So that's what they're facing, right? People will take it to the excess. Yeah. And they're probably only supposed to have like 3 or 4 of those packets a month, right? I mean, it's poison. So what's he going to do? How's he going to pull off? I would love to see the rise of the agrarian state, right? Like farmers and people out there that are really committed to putting out food that's healthy for us. And that's good. I mean, that's how you build a nation. I want strong kids to eat. And then think about all the foods that they've put into schools that are made out of these same ingredients,
Oh, for
I
sure.
would want I'd probably, if I had kids, I would send them to school with lunch every day, because I don't want them eating that.
Oh, there was someone in my son's class who his mom said couldn't eat any dyed foods.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, is that like an allergy? She's like, no, I can just tell his behavior's off when he eats it. So at first I was like, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's a weird thing. And then I would go in for parties, and the kid would beg for a cupcake or beg for that. And the teacher would say, no, your mommy says no. But the more you read about it, the more like, yeah, actually it's probably a very, very bad idea to give kids this stuff.
And we wonder why autism's through the roof. We wonder why all of these childhood diseases.
That. Not allowed to say that yet.
What?
We're not allowed to say it causes it yet, but that is ticking, tick, tick, tick. That's getting close.
So what's causing it? Because there's been a significant uptake in the last 2-3 decades with autism rates.
The official sources say that there's an uptick because they've gotten better at diagnosing it, which I think that there's probably a little bit of truth to that.
But it doesn't shoot up 20% decade after decade.
Oh, no. But before it would be you're either fine or you're so mentally ill you need to go to an institution, right? Mm-hmm. Now there's a spectrum, right? Where you can just be a little bit, you can be on the spectrum, but completely normal, live a normal life. So in terms of counting towards the statistics, someone at the very tail end of the spectrum counts the same as someone who's being institutionalized, right?
Yeah. Like who set the food standards? It was always that food pyramid. Remember that? Because I was reading like what Candy Pants put in the the comments there about if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds,
Yeah.
taxes ought not to pay for the bag of fudge rounds.
Yeah.
People don't know how to eat healthy. Like they haven't been educated on what's good for you to eat. People can't even do base math in schools. I mean, now we're looking at the Department of Education being taken down because nobody knows math, nobody can read, nobody knows how to eat, nobody can tell time. I mean, the English language is suffering. There's so many things that
Yeah.
the liberal establishment has completely torn down in the name of like DEI and that stuff and equality. What happened to the ideas of health and
Yeah.
energy, the robust American that can go and do anything, right? They spend so much time creating these people who need to live off of the government subsidies. We haven't made any generations of people who are self-sufficient. People who can go build a house, people who can grow their own crops, people who can weld, right? The American people are in for a shakeup. And it starts with the foods that we eat and the education we give our kids. No wonder we've got RFK out there doing what he's doing. No wonder we've got what's-her-face going after the Department of Education. So it's there. I hope there's a bright future, but I also worry that they start this work and somehow another election goes the wrong way and it gets undone in 6 months, 3 months.
That's and so the only way to actually make these lasting changes is to show the benefits of it, right? To show the successes, right? So to the point where it's impossible to reverse it because everyone sees that it works, right? For all the Democrats talk about how tariffs are bad, Joe Biden did not reverse the Trump tariffs.
No,
he kept them in place.
Here's the kicker, man, is that the Democrats don't want success, though.
No,
because we got Swalwell on talking crap about the price of eggs, right?
But you'll never hear him mention eggs again, right?
No, but that's the thing is that they want to hide it. They'll use it when they need it, and they have no problem snowing the people about learning it. They have no problem pulling the wool over every school kid's eyes, like every parent that's out there. And what do we get? Like Earth Day, right?
Yeah.
I want good American lunches for kids at school. Heck, I'd rather them be free than kids have to pay for. I'd rather schools pay for free lunches to give you. If you're required to be there legally, feed them. And feed them well.
Good food.
That's my take on it.
Not the Michelle Obama.
Did you see those awful lunches?
Yeah,
you see a lunch in France, and it's amazing. You go to South Korea and you see their lunches for their school kids. It is amazing. Then you get to
Japan, what do they call it? The bento boxes or whatever.
Yeah,
they have a nice little box, like there's like a heating mechanism in the box, like a chemical heating thing. Like, whoa!
and look how successful those kids are in school, right? Like maybe you look to them and say, "Hey, what are you doing right?" But all we got from Michelle Obama was these half-cooked square pieces of mystery meat, some goo they slapped on the tray, and that was the big revolution she had during the Obama presidency, right? That she completely undid lunches. And I want healthy lunches for kids, man. I want kids like that. The one place kids should be fed and safe is at school if they're going to be there.
Yeah.
Let's feed them. Let's start with good nutrition at school. But we're not going to get it. I'm not going to get a Democrat in Colorado to say, yeah, you're right, and then up the budget for it because they're too busy trying to build homes for the homeless still.
Yeah.
Or chasing all those weird migrant camps. I mean, do you know how much money Colorado ended up blowing on free health care for migrants?
Oh, yeah. They
insane.
just had the major city mayors in before Congress, and they said out loud how much they've spent. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
And it's unsustainable.
It's unsustainable. And some of the angriest people are Democrats in Chicago. Like there's a reason that Donald Trump almost took Illinois. I mean, it was within like 6 points. Yeah, it was in 5 or 6 points because of just how pissed off people were about the way things were being run. And it's not just inflation. It's not just that. It was also the push for the migrants. People realize that when you bring millions of people into the country and you don't build millions of homes, that increases the cost of a home, of an apartment. It's very obvious stuff. What else we got today? You see that the left is mad that Trump bought a Tesla yesterday.
It was great. I thought it was great. He got a Plaid version, didn't he? Which is like the insane, super fast.
The Plaid.
I'd love to have one. I can't afford it, but
$100,000, $93,000. But they're like, oh, he turned the White House into a car dealership. Well, where were they when Joe Biden did the same thing, but with the vehicles that he
Rubicon,
liked,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That Jeep's a nice Jeep, but you'll remember when he had this EV summit, he didn't invite Tesla.
Yeah.
Tesla need not apply, right? So it was okay when Biden did it, but when Trump does it with the one car company that was left out, then it's a problem, apparently.
Which is, clearly there's no bias there.
Yeah, no bias.
And I kind of like it when there's a bunch of cars in front of the White House. I kind of like it when the president's out doing cool ass things. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It just shows you he's rather down to earth, and he bought it for someone else. I mean, the man will never drive again. He doesn't have to.
Yeah, well, he bought it just to keep it, put it in the
Yeah.
garage, right?
But they flipped out, and I kind of laughed. Part of me was like, he could gain the ability to heal people with his hands in front of him and heal the blind, and Democrats would still find a way to say, well, he didn't take care of his deafness. So there's that. It wasn't
No.
100% of a healing.
They say that he is fighting the trans disabled. You know that's like actually a group of people who are deliberately blinding themselves because they identify as being blind.
No.
It's a level of mental illness where they believe life would be better if they only had one arm, so they are amputated. Yeah, it's a very rare thing, but it does exist.
You're kidding.
They would say
Talking
that
about blinding yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Poking out your own eyes, making yourself so you cannot see.
Yeah.
Oh, that just disturbs all the crap out of me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, and he was going after the guys that were doing all of the anti-Semitic protesting and the college campuses.
Yeah. What do you think
And
of
that
that?
one
You
really
see
got.
that?
That's
getting
really
that's getting
interesting.
lefties mad because
yeah.
they're using an element of law that is actually so niche. I didn't even put it in my book, Conservatives Guide to Winning Every Immigration Argument. I didn't even put it in there. It's such a niche Cold War era law that basically says even if you don't break the law, the Secretary of State can have any non-citizen removed from the country if their presence would hurt U.S. national security or impede on U.S. foreign policy.
You're kidding.
So you could be in the country completely legally, right?
Wow.
But if you are at a protest that is inflaming tensions with an ally and you risk an alliance with the United States, you can have you removed, right? So yes, running a protest at Columbia, anti-Israel, pro-Hamas, advocating for the destruction of Israel, there is a legitimate argument to be made that your presence in the United States and fomenting this, not riot, but fomenting this protest hurts U.S.-Israeli relations. And therefore, it doesn't matter if you have a green card, doesn't matter if you have a wife with a baby on the way, your presence in the United States is no longer acceptable. And next time, think before you do that.
The other thing is I saw somebody call, I think it was Rep. Boebert, called Green's cane as pimp cane. And now people are calling her racist and asking, demanding her resignation.
Well, it was a pimp cane.
When does it become an insult to say he's got a pimp cane? You know what I mean?
That's what it looked like. He was acting like a pimp, shouting, waving it around. Normal people don't wave their cane around.
It's technically a weapon. When you shake a cane at me, I'm making sure I don't get hit by it.
There is a long history of members of Congress beating each other with canes.
Yeah, absolutely. One almost to death. I forgot who it was. But
that's what we need. That's what we need in this country, good caning.
Maybe we get like a side MMA sort of cane fight thing going on in Congress. And then, whoever kind of wins, whoever gets knocked out has to take like 2 weeks out and can't vote on stuff. That way we put the strongest in there because that's what I'm after. The tariffs things are happening. It kind of feels like Holman's still doing the job that we've asked him to do.
No, I mean, do you see today that they're shaking their fist at him like agitators in New York, and he's just calmly biting an apple. Let me see if I can pull it. But before we leave, let me see if I can find the video of Holman with the apple, because it's just such a.
It's perfect.
It's just such an image of this mob is trying to get at him, and he's just calmly just walking by eating an apple.
God, I want to watch
the video. He was in New York State. I think he was in the New York Capitol building because they're pissed about that green card holder who's being deported. Here's the video. Here we go. Let me upload it. Remove that. Present video file.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's see it. Look at that smile. Oh.
Just smiling.
What's happening right now is we're getting video.
Yeah.
People are getting sent back.
For everyone listening to the audio version, it is an angry mob, not crowd, of leftist protesters shouting deportation is not welcome here, yada, yada, yada. And Homan with his police escort is just walking by, just munching on an apple. Which that's a choice. That's a choice, right? That's a choice. That's a deliberate choice of nonchalance, of I don't care about you, right? I'm just gonna eat my apple. I love it. Let's see if they get him again.
It was the way that he just kind of smiled at the group. I was like, he's reveling in it, right? He's enjoying this moment.
Watch these guys trying to get out of it.
They were violent. Hope he gets stuck in that elevator. These people look unhinged, man.
I know. And the minute the elevator door closes, they all stop.
Yeah. Well, there's no one to yell at that point. I mean, that's like the limit of their anger.
I know.
Not surprising.
I know. But that view of I gotta see it again. I gotta see the apple again.
Yeah, you have to.
I gotta see it again.
Everybody's
Watch
gonna see it. He looks so New Yorker at that moment.
I also love the idea of like Tom Homan like in a meeting and there's a bowl of fruit just as like decoration. He's like, I have that, I'll take that. Like eating the decorations.
And he'd probably bust out an apple just to like make the room uncomfortable. Oh, it's feeling good. Like this has been a really good 80 days so far, 80-ish days. I know we're not at the full 100 yet, but the speed at which Trump is operating is amazing. Like it's inspiring. If you're an American, it should be completely inspiring, right? But we don't get that from the left. All we get is reasons why he's an evil human being. The orange man's bad. Tesla's got to burn. I mean, didn't they love Elon Musk? I mean, wasn't he like the darling?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he
of
was.
Liberal politics?
Well, he was until he made a big error. He is not union.
Oh.
So the reason he was kept out of all of the Joe Biden EV summits is because Tesla is not like a big union auto worker thing. So they said we have to bring we're on to EVs. They only brought EV companies that have union labor.
It feels like now big unions are running the White House.
Yep.
You know, big money, big billionaire money, and unions running the Joe Biden. Shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Well, we hit most of the stuff. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, I just wanted to point out that eggs are
down.
Eggs are coming down. Gas is down. Keep enjoying it, right? Keep enjoying it. Take the wins where you can get them. Start thinking about the next election.
Take the wins. Yeah. Next election. Virginia has an election coming up. Elections. Well, that's it for this edition of the Right Guys podcast. If you like the podcast, hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. Like, follow, comment, subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. We're on X. Again, we just need a few more Rumble subscribers. We'll hit 900, and then we're going to run for 1,000. So go ahead, head over to our Rumble for Right Guys podcast and give us a subscribe if you haven't already. We also have the audio edition of the podcast available everywhere audio podcasts are found. Go ahead and give that a subscribe as well. You can listen to us as you go about your day. That's it for this edition. My name is Max McGuire.
I am Josh Hammerling.
Remember, the fight to take back our country is not over yet, but the only way we win is if we all stand up and fight together. See you next time.